Welcome to episode 26 of the All About Yarn podcast. It is Monday the 5th of December 2016, which is exactly 2 weeks since I last recorded, which means I'm right on my target for the first time ever, I think, for when I want to talk to you again. So I'm feeling pretty chuffed with myself right now. I'm Jenny. You can find me pretty much everywhere online as All About Yarn, and you can find links to my shop, my Ravelry group, Facebook page and blog via www.owlaboutyarn.com. Please come over and feel free to have a chat in the Ravelry group. Introduce yourself if you haven't already, and make sure that you're a member, because when I run giveaways you will probably need to be a member in order to qualify to enter for them. I also just recently, new news, have a newsletter. I sent out my first edition this weekend, so thank you very much to those of you that have already signed up. If you haven't signed up already, then just underneath the video, if you're watching on YouTube, or if you're watching anywhere else and the show notes are underneath, then just underneath the video will be a link for you to click to sign up for the newsletter. And in that you will hear about shop updates, offers and discount codes, where I'm going to be exhibiting, and other general lovely news. So how have you all been? It's been such a fast 2 weeks. I think I must have been busy or something, because it's just flown by. And I didn't think I had much to tell you, and then I started making some notes this morning. And I thought, actually, yeah, I've got a fair bit. I can record and I can chatter on for a little while. So shall we get into it? Today we have some happenings, some workings, some finishings, and some loving at the end. So, in happenings, as I've just mentioned, I started a newsletter. It was terrifying. I don't know why it was so scary, but I've been putting it off and putting it off. And after I went on that weekend away I told you about in the last podcast up to Manchester, Jolie and Tara told me, well, they told all of us, you have to do a newsletter, because these are the people who really want to hear about your products and who are really interested in you, so write a newsletter. So I came back, I sorted that out, and it was the most nervous button press I've ever done when I pressed the button to send off that first email newsletter. But it's had a good response, and I'm hoping to write one about once every fortnight, I think I'm aiming at. Unless anything special happens in between times, like shop updates and time-sensitive news, you know. Also, last Thursday evening, I had a shop update with about half of my project bags. So I need to get the other half photographed and up in the shop soon. The ones that went up last week were Star Wars themed, and I had some with female superheroes, some patchwork ones, and what was the other one? I don't remember what the other one. Oh, no, I didn't do, no, they're coming. No, it's gone. Anyway, there are still some project bags left in the shop if you are stuck for a gift for a knitter, and if you fancy treating yourself. So go and have a look, and as I said, you can find that via www.owlaboutyarn.com. That's new, so I'm going to be saying that a lot because that's also exciting. And then shall we get straight on into workings? So I haven't managed to do an awful lot this week. I've been working on, I've done a teeny tiny bit on my Tallulah cardigan. Now I showed you this last time, and I'm wondering, I think I might have put the progress keeper on it last time I talked to you, but I don't remember working that much on it, so I'm hoping that I moved it after I last talked to you. I've added about an inch today to it because my daughter's other two hand knitted cardigans were in the wash when she went to school this morning, and so she had to wear a generic school cardigan, the same as everybody else, and she was very upset. I think I've created a monster because she was there saying, but there are no stitches in this one and there's no love knitted into it. And I was thinking, oh my days. Okay, right. So I thought I've got to pick this up and I've got to get some knitting done on it. So as I say, I've added about an inch. I think I worked out it had to be about A4 length. I did some very rapid measuring before she went out the door. So I've got another inch or two, and then I'll be doing the ribbing at the bottom, and then I'll be picking up the sleeves and knitting those, but they won't take very long because there are only a few stitches on the needles. And then picking up and knitting the border, and then I've decided, instead of, like I said to you last time, I was going to incorporate a lace detail above the ribbing around the bottom edge. But Erin has since said that she'd quite like pockets. So I thought it'd be so much easier if I just knit a couple of squares with that lace heart detail on the pockets, on the squares, and then sew them on. And that will be a lot easier than deciding how to place the lace detailing around the bottom. So that's what I'm going to do. So, I know I said I was hoping to have this finished by the next time I saw you. Maybe next time? I'll try, because she does desperately want another jumper, and the two she's got are getting a little bit short in the arms and in the body, really. I mean, she's grown all over, so I need to crack on with that. The other thing that I've been working on is I snaffled a Paddington bag out of my shop, because I thought, well, what's the point of having all this lovely fabric if one of the perks isn't that you get to have it yourself? Remember last time I showed you this? This is my Treacle Shawl, and it's a pattern by Jolie Kelly from Jolie Creates. Can you see the alternating colours? Oh yeah, they're pretty good with the colour. Makes everything else in the room go orange, but hey. Well, I think I was probably a bit further on when I last talked to you, sorry. But do you remember in the last podcast I had real difficulty deciding which side was which? Yeah, it turns out I made a mistake. And so you use 2 yarns and you knit alternating rows. I'm not really giving very much away, you can work that out by just looking at it. But you knit 2 rows in one colour and then 2 rows in the next, so that each garter ridge is a different yarn, and I think you can just about make out the 2 different yarns that I've got going on there. Well, I'd obviously knitted across, so like I've done now, I'd knitted across and got 1 yarn at one end and 1 yarn at the other end, and then instead of picking up the right yarn, I picked up the other yarn and knitted across. Long story short, it completely messed up the pattern, and the garter ridges were alternating on one side and then until halfway through, and then they were alternating on the other side, and so I had to rip out, well, I'd got to about 4 repeats into the lace border, and I had to rip back to about there, and it starts up here and it expands down there. I've knitted about this much back. That was very trying for me. But I've only got those left, so you can see there's not too much yarn left, and that's all of the yarn that I used last time because I'd broken the yarn and everything to do the border. But it's lovely yarn. So these are from Sarah's Texture Crafts, and this one is DK Merino Sparkle, and I believe that this is Merino Silk and Stellina, and it just feels beautiful. And I think that this is the colourway Ilfracombe, and then this one is Donegal DK, which is, have I got the label? Let me check. I should do. That's my label. Oh, it's still in. Oh look, see, these are what I had left after I finished the body of the shawl the first time. So here's the label. It is 85% merino and 15% Donegal nep. And they're both so nice to knit with, so I don't really mind having to knit it again. I mean, it's annoying because I'd be nearly finished on the border if I hadn't had to rip it out, but they're such lovely yarns. I can't recommend Sarah's yarns enough. And I'm using my needle keeper that I got at the Geeky Puffin Knit Palooza to stop the stitches coming off the needles, because there's a few more, it's quite bunched up on the cord. As you can see, I'm using 4.5mm Knit Pro Novas, which are just nice and slippy enough to get on with that. And then when I've finished the body of the shawl, I'll be knitting on the border. So the finished shawl will look a little bit like that, only obviously not in black and white, but I was too cheap to print it out in colour, so. But yeah, so this, that's what I'm working down now, and then this is an applied border at the end, and I'm going to be using my own Merino DK in the colourway Aloof, and I have got some more of this, and it will be going into the shop eventually when I get the photography weather to do it. I have bought myself a daylight bulb though, so I'm hoping that that's going to help with the pictures, because my current photography setup is rubbish. So that's all I'm working on. I am spinning. I wonder if I can show you that. If I just turn the camera around for a minute, because my wheel is next to my Christmas tree. There she is. Oh, next to Erin's chair. So that's some merino and silk on the wheel. And that's really all you're going to see until it's finished. But, oops, that was from Wing and Wool Works when I went up in the summer. And that's just nice and easy. It's a no thought sort of a spin. But as you can see, I've got new fibre on the wheel, which means moving into finishings, I've got yarn to show you. So the first yarn is this one, which sat on the wheel, and it really is that dark. It's going to be for my husband. It sat on the wheel for months because I didn't do any spinning between the end of the Tour de Fleece in July and about 2 weeks ago, and then I started off again because I don't know, I just completely lost the will to spin, which is quite a sad state of affairs really, isn't it? I wonder if I can, oh yeah, look, that's not too bad, is it? So this is just a little bit. I've got a big bag full of all these colours still, and I picked them out especially for Rob to knit him a hat for the winter. He's not one for wearing bright colours, occasionally in a t-shirt or a jumper or something, but his outerwear is always very dark. So I thought I'd better stick to fairly dark colours for that. Otherwise he just wouldn't enjoy wearing it. He'd probably wear it out of obligation, but he wouldn't like it. But he says he really likes this yarn, so there's just teeny tiny little bits of orange here and there just to pick it up a little bit. And then I've got plum and brown and dark green and teal and a sort of royal blue and a navy blue. So yeah, this is going to be a hat for Rob, and I got 106 yards. So that's plenty, and if he likes the hat when it's knitted up, then I've got plenty more fibre. I can go and spin some more up and make him some mittens or a scarf or a cowl or something if he wants one. So that should be jumping on the needles in the next week or two, fingers crossed. And I've got another finished yarn. Back in the summer, Sarah from Sarah's Texture Crafts had a sale, and I got her email newsletter through, and I thought, oh, go on. I felt like treating myself, so I went and had a look, and she'd reduced some bats of merino fibre, and I just fancied them. There was just something bright and cheerful about them, and I thought, yeah, go on. So I bought myself 2 50-gram bats, and I spun them up separately, and then I plied them together in a 2-ply, and this is what I got. and I'm really happy with that. So obviously there's all the barber poling. I think it's probably going to be varying between a fingering and a sport weight, and obviously you've got the lovely turquoisey blue and purple and red and yellow, and I think the red and yellow have blended a little bit to make an orangey colour in places as well. And I have 365 yards of this, so I think that that's enough really to make me a decent sized shawl or a big squishy cowl or something. Do you reckon I could wear that? Go with the purple in my hair, which you still can't see, but it is there, I promise. I promise I've got purple in my hair. But yeah, I don't know what I'm going to do with this yet. I've got a few projects to get off the needles before I start thinking about knitting this, but I was really pleased with that. So this is 100% merino, and again, as ever, from Sarah, was a pleasure to spin. Just really lovely to draft and easy, and it's a lovely squishy yarn as well now that it's been washed and thwacked and snapped and whatever. So that is everything I've finished. Right, oh no, oh, how could I forget? I nearly forgot. Erin's costume. Remember from last time? Yeah, those of you who watched the last podcast will remember that Erin came on herself. Erin is my 4-year-old daughter, for those of you who don't know, and told you that she was going to be starring in the school nativity concert. And I needed to provide her with a Mary costume, because she didn't want a shop bought one, because shop bought ones aren't good enough. Mummy has to make it for her. So off I trotted down to the local homewares shop, because I had a look online and I just wasn't sure with the, I wanted a decent weight of cotton or polycotton or something. I wanted something that was reasonably heavy so that it wouldn't be see-through apart from anything else, but just so that it would hold together pretty well. And then I thought, well, sheets aren't too expensive. We have a shop just down the road. It's a chain shop in the UK called Dunelm Mill, and they have a wide range of colours of sheets and duvets and whatever. So I thought, oh, I'm bound to find something down there. I was hoping I'd find something in their haberdashery department, but they didn't really have any plain polycottons. They do more curtain fabrics and things like that. So went to the sheets and I bought a king size flat sheet in that sort of dull blue that you use for a Mary costume, and a single flat sheet in white for her headdress. And I spent one Sunday afternoon, week before last, putting all of that together, and it all came together very nicely. She was very happy with it, and we'll be going to watch her in the morning doing her concert. They've done this, it's going to be about the 4th performance that they do by tomorrow. So my mum and dad went to a special grandparents viewing on Friday, and they said it was brilliant, and she knew all the words and she sang nicely and didn't smile very much, because when she gets nervous she sort of does this look where she sort of goes rather than smiling. But I'm really looking forward to going and seeing that tomorrow. So yeah, she was thrilled to bits with her costume. Oh, and I also bought some of that funny posh rope that you get for making tie backs on your curtains, and that's her belt. So it's all very authentic. Unfortunately, I didn't really think through how much material I was going to need, and obviously I would have easily got away with just buying a single bed sheet to make a dress for a 4-year-old, but I do tend to go overboard with these things, and so I've got about 80% of this king size bed sheet left. But that's fine, it's good polycotton, it will be used for bag linings and things like that. So, and maybe it'll even be a wearable toile of something or other, or a liner dress, or who knows. It's good quality cotton, so damn it, I'm going to use it. So she's happy, we're all happy, and I'll have pictures up somewhere for you to see in the podcast, so you'll be able to see her wearing it, and you can tell that she's happy because she's got the biggest smile on her face when I took a picture of her. And that really is all of my finishings. So, shall we move on to what I'm loving? Well, I went out last week with my two best friends, Zoe and Ellie, and we met up in Penarth, which isn't too far away. It's sort of in between where I live and where Zoe lives. Zoe is from the Pins and Needles podcast. If you watch that as well, then you'll know who I'm talking about. And we had been meaning to go to a fabric shop in Penarth for quite a while, and as I say, it's about halfway between where we live and where Zoe lives, so it's a convenient place for us all to meet. And we decided to go and visit the shop, do a bit of shopping, and then go and have a bit of lunch and a bit of a meet up, and so we did. It was a freezing cold day, but dry, so that was good. And we got there no problems, we found the shop no problem, and then we just were stumped for what to buy, because this shop, I believe it's called Oh So Crafty in Penarth, is packed to the rafters. I should have taken some pictures and I didn't even think to do it, but it's packed to the rafters with fabric, bolts of fabric all the way up, and trimmings and bundles of fat quarters, you name it, it was in there, and for such a small space they really did fill it well. So Ellie bought some fabric to make, I believe she bought fabric to make dungarees for her little boy, and I decided to buy some fabric for a dress for Erin, and I wanted to make her a winter dress, because when you buy dresses they all seem to be quite cold, you know, they're very quite thin, and she is such a girly girl. She hates wearing trousers. She has to really be talked into wearing trousers. There has to be a very good reason for it, and if a dress doesn't have a matching cardigan, you have a hell of a job trying to get her to wear a cardigan over a dress as well. And the other day, for example, last Tuesday, we went to take her brother to tennis, and it was absolutely biting cold outside. And so she came in from school, and I said, right, go and get changed, we've got to take Ben to tennis, go and put something warm on. And she stood halfway up the stairs, turned around, stamped her foot, and she went, Mummy, I don't want to be warm, I want to be pretty, and turned around and stomped off while I was in fits of laughter. But that is so typical of how she is, just all the time. And I don't know where she got it from, because I'm all about comfort, not fashion. So I don't know, she's some throwback from, I don't know. I think my grandmother might have been quite fashionable when she was young, so maybe it's all come from her. Sorry, I'm losing my notes, which I've perched underneath you here. And I don't want to lose my notes because I'll forget to tell you things. No, it's gone. Never mind, we'll ignore them. Anyway, I decided, they had this sample dress hung up, and it was a corduroy lined with a polycotton, and then it had some of the detail from the polycotton on the outside of the dress, like little pockets. And I thought, well, I've got a pattern for a pinafore dress. Where is it? Which I made for her before. Long-time viewers of the podcast will remember last year that I made her this little dress in an embroidered needle cord, and she loves it. She wears it a lot, and it is one of her cosier dresses, and I can get her to wear thick tights and a thick top underneath it and a cardigan over the top, so it's a winner as far as I'm concerned. Now this pattern only goes up to age 3, but I'm fairly certain I will be able to lengthen it, and I know that widthways, the one that I made her still fits her absolutely fine, so I can just stick with the width of it and make it longer, and it'll be great for her. So I'm going to make her this one, but I'm going to make it out of this blue corduroy fabric, and it's got a nice drape, so I think that should work well. and then I'm going to line it with this red polycotton with stars, which I've had for quite a while. I think I bought this at sewing machine shop in Leckwith, which is in East Cardiff. No, I'm in East Cardiff, in West Cardiff, the other side of Cardiff. So I thought that they could look quite nice together, so if I can try and show you, it's all been folded in on itself, so it's, here you go. But I thought that would be a lovely bright and cheerful pinafore dress for the winter, and red and blue are two of her favourite colours. Pink is her third as well, but she always says red, blue and pink, so I've figured that that's the order of priority. So I'm going to try and do that, maybe in time for Christmas, we'll have to see, I'm not sure yet. But that is going to be next up on my sewing machine. And there's a couple of other things that I want to sew as well. I've seen some tutorials for aprons that are, they're sort of fancy dress aprons because they look like Disney princess dresses, and you just have to put this apron on and you've got the whole flouncy front of a Princess Belle dress or something. And she would love it and her cousins would love it as well, but I'm not entirely certain I'm going to get time before Christmas to get into any of that. I'm not actually doing any Christmas knitting this year, unless I knit the hat for Rob. That might be a Christmas present, but I haven't got anything planned, which is very unusual. But I've just been so busy trying to do new things with the business this year, and being away last month, it sort of threw me all out of whack, so I didn't really know whether I was coming or going with some things. So I decided that knitting isn't going to happen for Christmas present this year. Maybe next year. I'll have to start thinking about it in January and get really organised. A couple of other things that I wanted to show you, a couple of books that I bought. I haven't had a chance to show you these. I got them a little while ago, but I've had so many other things to show you and talk about that I haven't had a chance to bring them onto the podcast. So I treated myself, there was a sale on knitpicks.com and they had some books in the sales, and so I got a couple of sort of Stitch dictionaries, aren't they, for increases and decreases. I thought, well, that could be a good one to look at, see if there are many that I haven't had a go at already, see what I can learn. And then I've also got, in the same series, Cast On and Bind Off. And I think some of these look really pretty. So that'll certainly be interesting to see what I can pick up from there. And like, you've got the Picot bind off on the back, and so, and they're all on I can't remember what they're called. These these pages that you can lay completely flat anyway. So I like that. I won't be losing my place when I'm trying to knit something. And also, I bought myself Clara Park's book, Knitlandia, and I know everybody's read it already and I'm late to the party, but I've been meaning to buy it for an awfully long time, and I tried to buy it when I was on the London Yarn Crawl in Loop, because they've got quite a big selection of books upstairs in Loop in London, but they didn't have a copy of this, so I wasn't able to buy it. And then I saw it in the Knit Pick sale and I thought, oh, do you know what, go on, just have it delivered to your house, it's far easier. So I bought that, and I'm about halfway through reading it at the moment, and I'm really enjoying it. It's next to my bed and it's very relaxing reading, just reading about all these different knitting shops and yarn producers and Clara's adventures around the world. It's really nice, and I believe she's got a new book coming out next year, I think, because I follow her on Twitter, and I'm sure she said that she was finishing up her new book, so that's very exciting. I wonder what that one will be about. I think that's pretty much it. Into remnants, which is our final section, which is just all the bits and pieces that don't really fit anywhere else. As you can see, we're getting festive in the Powell house. My husband decided that yesterday was the best time to put the tree up, and so he did. And I sat on the sofa and knitted and said, no, don't put that ornament there, put it higher up because it's breakable. Oh no, that one's fine, that can go at the bottom of the tree, let Erin put that one on, etc, etc. And so we've got it there. Now we do have two trees, The other tree is usually in the dining room. We haven't put that up yet. And that's the one where all the non-breakable, not so important ornaments go. The ones that are, I don't know, the ones that we bought in the supermarkets and don't mean, like, all of these have got significance to me from one reason or another. But for example, this one I bought when I went to Salzburg with my friend Maria back in 2007, I think that was, and we went to the Christmas markets and bought a couple of really nice baubles. This is so clever. This one is made from old maps and was made by my friend Linda at the Roath Craft Market. If you're in Cardiff, you should really go to the Roath Craft Market in the Macintosh Sports and Social Club on a Saturday morning, and she'll have some decorations like these again this year, I'd imagine. But I think that's ever so clever. I can't do anything like that, so you know, you always think it's clever when you see things, but I mean, it is. What am I saying? I'm jabbering. Obviously we've got the TARDIS, because why wouldn't you? And then I've got the ornaments that the kids made. I think we probably showed this one to you last year when Erin brought it home from school. But that's her angel that she made last year in nursery. So that'll be on the tree every year now. Oh dear, I can't put it back where she put it. Do you know what? Let's put it behind me. That'll be better, won't it? And then I've got, down behind me I've got the ornament Jack brought home when he was in nursery, when he was 3, that he made. And somewhere up on this tree is Ben's first Christmas ornament that he brought home from school as well. So this is the tree where all the ones that mean something to me are put. In the back room, that is where the Christmas fairy is allowed to just spew over the tree. And it's usually, you can't see the tree for the tinsel and the baubles, and just cramming every single last possible thing onto it that you can. But that's absolutely fine. It means that I have my tree the way I want it, they have their tree and their fun, and that's fine. So, I'm sitting in this new place today so that you can see my tree, so that you can enjoy my advent candle with me. Why is it? So I've got a question about advent candles. Rob bought me this candle this year. He usually buys me an advent candle. Why is it? You'll spot the obvious problem now. Why is it that they put the 1 so far down on the damn candle? Look at that. There's a teeny tiny space between each number, but the 1 is there. And I have got all of that to burn to get to number 1. Oh. So every minute that I'm in this room, this candle needs to be lit so that I can at least try and get down to number 1, which I think is going to take me about 3 days. And then I'll probably zip through all the rest of them, won't I? Anyway, never mind. I do enjoy having the candle there. And that's there. And then I've got my little nativity that you can't quite see, which I bought in Bath Market when Jack was a year old. That's always on my mantelpiece. And this one, Pratchett fans will understand this one. If you're not a Pratchett fan, just skip over it, it's fine. My mum brought me this back from Norway, or Scandinavia. It could have been on a Baltic cruise, but she's done quite a lot of cruises over the last few years, her and my dad. She brought me this back. His hat actually comes off, which I think is just precious. And I think he's supposed to be a Nissa, but my husband and I are Pratchett fans, and we really think he looks like foul old Ron. And as I say, if you've read the Pratchett books, and especially the ones with that are in Ankh-Morpork, you'll understand who I mean. So he sits on our mantelpiece just because he makes us laugh and think of foul old Ron every time. Oh, and my husband made my daughter an advent calendar, which she's very happy with, and I thought I'd show it to you as well. So look, this is my husband's finished object. Isn't that cute? He got the base, the frame and the drawers and everything, that came unpainted from Hobbycraft. Then he did all the decorating himself and customised it for her. And then in each drawer is a different thing. So let's see. Like there's a chocolate in that one. I shouldn't be jumping ahead, should I? Today she had hair clips, but she hasn't worn them to school because she's quite fussy. What's she going to be getting tomorrow? Should we have a little look? Should we see? Oh, chocolate. And that is a popping candy snowball. I happen to know. So, that is my living room ready for Christmas. How are your Christmas preparations going? Have you got lots of Christmas knitting to do? Come and let me know in the Ravelry group. Let me hear how organised you are and how organised I'm not. I am completely in denial that it's December. I'm trying to get in the festive spirit. Have you noticed? I've got a new jumper. Of course I knitted it. Of course it didn't come from the supermarket. So, I couldn't resist that when I saw it earlier, and it's lovely and soft. And I thought, yeah, that'll do. That'll make me a bit festive. And then I opened my advent calendar that my husband made me, and can you see my earrings? They're little reindeers. And I didn't open it till I got home from the shop. So it was as if he knew which jumper I would choose when I went to the shop. So I will be wearing this ensemble tomorrow morning when I go and see Erin in her Christmas play. I'll be able to tell you all about that next time. If I forget, come and ask me in the Ravelry group how it went, but I'm sure she'll be brilliant, and she probably knows everybody else's words as well, so it could be quite amusing. Anyway, I hope that your Decembers are going well. I hope you're not getting stressed out with getting ready for Christmas. And I hope that I will see you soon. If you are watching for the first time, thank you very much for joining me. I really appreciate it. If you are coming back, thank you for coming back. I can't believe it. Once you've listened to me ramble once, you're actually coming back and listening again. You deserve medals. However, if you do actually enjoy listening to me ramble, then please click the like. Which side is it going to be? Is it going to be this side or this? Well, below, click the like button and then click subscribe. I can't even get my words out today. We'll blame the lipstick. Click the like button, click subscribe, and then you won't miss out on any future podcasts. But until the next time I talk to you, which should be just before Christmas, fingers crossed everything goes well, I hope that you are all well and warm and happy, and I'll talk to you soon. Thank you for joining me. Bye-bye. Thank you so much for watching my podcast. You can find me pretty much anywhere online as allaboutyarn.com. I'd love it if you would give me a thumbs up and hit the subscribe button so that you don't miss out on any future episodes of the podcast. See you soon.